What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Triple H Podcast Happy Hour Hoops. Me and Jake are here in a big way to talk some USA basketball. It's great that we have the Olympics during the dog days of summer this year. We get to see all our favorite hoopers. Throughout the week, we saw the exhibition games. The real stuff is starting this weekend, and we're super hyped about it. Before we get into all of that, of course, Happy Hour Hoops is brought to you by Win Streaks. It's simple, guys. You pick teams to win games, accumulate points based on those picks, and then if you are so lucky, you win cash prizes weekly. Win Streaks is 100% free to play. You can make up to 5 picks per day on predominantly right now the MLB, but the NBA, our favorite when it comes back, the NFL, which is right around the corner, NHL, college basketball, and college football, which is also right around the corner. 100 players win cash prizes every week up to $2,000. Again, 100% free to play, guys. Use our code HHH when you sign up and start winning cash prizes while you pick your favorite teams to win. Jake's got his Win Streaks threads on right now, the Win Streaks t-shirt repping. And yeah, me and Jake are all the way back to talk hoops. A little OG Happy Hour Hoops episode right now. Me and Jake. Steve's got some work obligations. He's grinding. We miss him dearly.
Yes, we do.
Jake, you ready to talk some Team USA here?
Let's do it.
Awesome, man. Yeah, so actually, that was a little bit of a tease. I do want to do just some quick NBA notes. Obviously, took the week off last week. Our summer schedule, we kind of do a little every other week here and there when stuff is slow. But we did have some news, starting with today. Russ officially signs with Denver. So we all knew this when he got sent to Utah. The buyout happened. So Russ has now been sent to the Utah Jazz twice, has not played a single game for them, and ends up in Denver. What are your quick thoughts on Russ in Denver? I know I've seen tons of mixed opinions. I know we're a Russell Westbrook podcast. What say you on Russ in Denver?
Yeah, we need those Westbrook Utah jerseys out immediately. Need one of those, especially the new ones. Come on. I don't know how I feel about this, honestly. Mm-hmm. I think Jokic likes Westbrook, and I think it's someone that he's wanted to bring in from what I remember seeing a couple weeks ago. So, making the star happy. They definitely need support on the bench. That was their biggest issue this year. So Russ is going to provide that. I just don't know how much help he provides this team going into next year. I'm excited for him and the opportunity to play with Jokic. It's going to be fun to see them together. But the fit with like Murray and Porter and everything else, I'm not sure how that is. So I think it's a good move for Denver. It's a low risk, high reward move, but I don't know if I think it's going to work out particularly well for them, like on the court wise. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in agreement in a little bit of a different way. Like again, to reiterate what you said, super happy for Russ. Like glad he's getting another opportunity. Glad he's getting an opportunity to play with a guy like Jokic, like you mentioned. I just always think about like how good he made Steven Adams and how good Steven Adams made him. And then you think about what he kind of turned Daniel Gafford into in Washington, his short stint there. So now for him to be able to play with a big like Jokic, like I just feel like obviously, this isn't Russ of the past anymore. We've seen obviously a decline, but he's still very impactful. I think that part's going to be super fun. But I'm with you. Like I don't think this is a move that gets Denver over some hump. And it's weird to say that about a team that just won a championship 2 years ago, but obviously they lost guys. Bruce Brown was a huge loss 2 years ago. They lost KCP this offseason. They needed to fill some holes on the roster. I think Russ is a good start. Is it enough to get them back to, championship contender with how good the West is? I don't know. I think if you have Jokic and Murray healthy, you probably have a good shot. I don't think Russ is, ascending them to some, non-human level, but I'm just excited. I didn't even think about, him possibly playing alongside, MPJ and Murray at the same time like that. That does seem a little weird with 3 guys who are, pretty ball dominant on the perimeter there. But who knows? maybe Russ just shakes everything up and just goes into like super playmaker mode. Russ and just rebounding and assist is going to be his bread and butter on this team probably.
Yeah, it could be a fun mix if he doesn't need to if he doesn't feel like he needs to score or do anything like that. I'm really excited to see him with Jokic more than anything. The other guys, we'll see how they file in, but I like that potential pairing. And if Jokic thinks he can get something out of him and it kind of be a good tandem, then who am I to argue with Nikola Jokic, right? So
yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, Russ is getting close to like the Shaq memes with making all the rainbows out of his jerseys that he's had along the way. And I think now that he's been there twice, even though he hasn't played games, we can throw the Utah ones in there if we need to.
Yeah.
If we need to finish the rainbow and need some more colors, we have a lot to choose from Utah. But shout out Russ, man. Just happy to see a guy who's given so much to the game get another contract and another opportunity. And like we said, to play with a guy like Jokic, it's awesome. Another signing, Tom Thibodeau signs a 3-year extension with the New York Knicks. So all, the full Nova fans that were trying to complete the Nova Knicks, Jay Wright obviously won't be the head coach in the near future for the New York Knicks. They extend their guy, Tom Thibodeau. So yeah, Knicks re-sign their head coach. Then just a couple other extensions. Andrew Nembhard, 3 years to stay with the Pacers. He was a playoff riser for sure last year, especially when Halliburton went down.
Oh yeah.
I think I don't know about you. I tweeted this. I think it's a good price. 3 years, $59 million. I think if he can perform like he did in the playoffs, I would say that's a steal of a deal for the Pacers. And then Sam Hauser extended with the Boston Celtics, 3 years. I guess the only surprising part about this is that the Celtics just keep throwing out money. I think Sam returning isn't all that surprising, but
hey, it's not Wick's problem anymore. He says someone else paying for this. So,
right.
Hey, whatever.
Yeah, the Celtics luxury tax that they're going to have to pay is probably going to be almost identical to what they're just paying their guys for this year. But
I think it was like $210 million is going to be the luxury tax for this year.
And I think their guys who they're paying this year is like $230 million on the books.
Like that. It's nuts.
So it pays. You got to pay to win championships, and you got to pay more after you win the championships. Is what we find out in the NBA.
But Brad decided to just run it back, and you know what?
No, I love it.
That's a good thing to do. Just run it back and see how everybody's young. It's not like it's an old core or anything like that. Besides, a couple pieces who whatever, worry about that later on. I think it's the best move to do.
Yeah, no, I'm as a Celtics fan, super excited to, get the band back together, just bring everyone back. They're the best team all of last year. Why break that up is probably Brad Stevens thinking, and that is why we are here. Yeah. So that was the news and notes, and now we can get into the 2024 Paris Olympics. Team USA is there.
Sir.
They're wearing all the Polo USA jackets today. LeBron has his white one on, looking snazzy.
Leading the charge, man.
Yeah. So, Bron, obviously, they did the vote amongst the players in one of the social clips, or asking everyone who the best player on the team is. Before even some of these exhibition games, I think, or it might have been after the first one or two, and everyone was just saying LeBron. And then the last couple of games, South Sudan and then Germany, where he really took over the last 4 minutes of that game. LeBron's looked incredible. I know, obviously, this is probably awesome for you, Jake, and just, basketball fans alike. Even if you're not the biggest LeBron's guy like myself, this is still something you could appreciate. If you're watching on YouTube, we have LeBron holding the flag, just looking presidential, patriotic as hell, and it's awesome, man. What is your thoughts, LeBron, kind of in this spotlight? Obviously, he's been in the spotlight forever, but this has a little bit of a different feel to it.
Well, yeah, everything's turned into the LeBron show with Team USA. So obviously, I've enjoyed it. We know I'm not surprised that he's been as effective on the court as he has been. We know that he's had a lot of time to rest, obviously. It's not like the Lakers had a deep run or anything like that. And he wanted to make sure he had an impact on this team. He said a while ago that he was going to play in this Olympics. So I think it's been a big deal for him. There's been some scares in the early exhibitions and everything, but we haven't seen this full roster. And I don't think Steve Kerr has tipped his hand on how he's actually going to play this team. I think he's tried basically every different combination that you could possibly see on the court. There's been some crazy lineups, just all sorts of different lineups finishing games, mostly the same crew when you get there, but they've interchanged some stuff back and forth for finishing games and those crunch time lineups in those close battles they had, like against South Sudan and Germany and everything else. The LeBron side of it, it seems like he's running the show from point guard, which is kind of what we talked about a couple weeks ago, and it makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense for them to do with the way that this roster is kind of been deployed so far. So I'm excited to see what they do. I'm excited to see what they look like if KD is back fully healthy and ready to go. It seems like he's going to be ready to go for the Olympics. We don't know. We haven't heard anything definitive yet. But I'm excited. I'm excited about the potential I saw from this roster in the exhibition, even in the close games, to see them kind of come through in the clutch the way they did. Like, they're going to be close games in this Olympics. Like, they're not just going to blow everybody out of the water. I think I saw I can't remember where I saw this, but it was the picture. They compared the Dream Team with this year's team. It was like 9 NBA players when the Dream Team were going in 92, and there's like 61 NBA players in other countries or something like that this year. Like, it's a talented group. And let's run through the groups here. We got Group A: Spain, Australia, Canada, Greece. Like, that's a heavy hitting group just in itself. Any of those teams could win that group, and you wouldn't be surprised. Greece is probably the underdog, like the biggest underdog out of this. And that's the craziest thing, is that they have Giannis on that team, and he could take over these games at any time. Spain, always a power. Australia has been really good for the last couple of years. Canada, we talked about the high hopes around them. Germany, France, Brazil, Japan. Germany and France, we just saw, as we were talking about Germany giving USA a scare. Dennis Schroeder just turns into a different person when he plays for Team Germany. It's insane.
It's crazy, man.
That French team's going to have the home cooking. They've got probably the best defensive team in the whole tournament. So it'll be interesting to see how they go out.
Too.
Yeah, huge players with Gobert and obviously Wembanyama in there, but Koulibaly too on the perimeter and everything else. Mm-hmm. Like, they're going to have a tough team. And then the United States' group: Serbia, Puerto Rico, and South Sudan. They start with Serbia on Sunday and our guy Nikola Jokic. So that is a lot of star power in this Olympics so far this year.
Yeah, it's it really is just funny, because even like looking back to the Redeem team when they were going up against their opponents, it wasn't like you weren't really even like, you didn't really have an eye out for other like NBA stars on other teams. You're just kind of like, oh yeah, like this is the USA squad, and we plan to beat everyone in our path. This year, you have all these familiar faces around the league, and obviously, I just think it's the way like social media has taken the NBA and just media in general and coverage of the league. Like, you get to know these guys a lot more now than you did even 5-10 years ago.
True.
So like the Dylan Brooks of the world and Daniel Tice being just like a name that most NBA fans know. He plays for Germany. And I guess we had that a little bit back in the day with Spain, like the Gasol brothers on Spain. It was always like, oh, so, Spain will have some, some guys. Jose Calderon, I believe, played for Spain back in the day with the Gasol brothers. Like, there was always a team or two, but now there's 2 teams in every group with a notable group of guys, like a handful of NBA guys on all these rosters. So it's very interesting. I'm excited for it. Someone who we haven't seen any action from yet is Kevin Durant.
Yep.
And a guy who is regarded as one of the better Team USA Olympians ever. He kind of just thrives in Team USA basketball. He's been injured since we went into camp for Team USA. The first game Sunday here. We're recording Friday if you're listening late. And we don't have like a super clear status unless I missed something today on Kevin Durant. Where are you at with KD? Do you think he plays Sunday?
I think he's in. I think he's been resting and maybe doesn't start, but I bet you he comes. I bet you he's one of the first people off the bench. He has been practicing. We saw the picture of him getting posterized by Anthony Edwards. I was mixing up my Edwards, almost said Davis there. Getting posterized by Ant there. So he's clearly going in for full contact practice right now. He's been fine. I think they just decided to play it safe. Don't need him for the exhibition as much. And if there's anybody who can slide into any offensive system and do what he does, it's Kevin Durant. So I'm not too worried about him and the chemistry of this team. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was going to be my follow-up. If you think he starts, I'm with you. I think he plays. I don't know. I don't know what Steve Kerr does. I don't know if he throws him into the starting lineup. I like what you said, though, at the beginning when we first started talking about this team. It's like I think Kerr was just trying a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I literally think he was just putting out lineups. Because
do you think that he'll be as steadfast with Joel Embiid in the Olympics as he was? Because he was pretty saying like Joel, he was talking about him, Steph, and LeBron as their big three, saying that Joel is like their critical piece and everything. And we were all multiple times having conversations about Joel, be like, what's going on here? Like, why are they trying to make this happen? So what do you think? Do you think it was like, let's get him into shape and see how he can do in the exhibition, or are they really just going to power through with Embiid?
I don't think he's going to be as eager to put Embiid in these games. I think he'll, maybe that's a want from Steve Kerr. Maybe Steve Kerr wants to have that super talented, just large, big that you can put on the block for all these matchups. But I do think it's going to come down to there being games where he may be a negative out on the court. And I think if there's a point where we're down the stretch and it's a close game and the other team's going small, or they just look a lot faster than us, I think Kerr will be put in a tough position where he might have to pull Joel and go with an Anthony Davis or go ultra small. And it's just, KD at the 5 or Tatum at the 5 or, even Bam, just for a little more versatility. So yeah, I think I believe that Steve Kerr truly wants to have Embiid out there with LeBron, with Curry, but I do think there's teams out there, like we said, they have NBA guys, there's good teams, not only in our group but the other ones, where it could pose some problems for Joel, or at least just having him out there. So I think Kerr will roll with him as much as he can, but I do think we might see less of him if it calls for that.
All right, that's kind of where I'm at too. I just don't, the way that it looked, I don't see it. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see how he can be the guy when you've got Bam. First of all, was playing outstanding the whole run in the exhibition, but Davis just feels like the better fit as your big if you're going to do that. So it's interesting. I don't know. I'm very interested to see what they do with Joel, and it's kind of like it's like a political thing, I feel like, as much as anything too. Like he signed on to play with this team. Did they like promise him anything? Like, if there's other guys that are considering this, are they gonna just have him be the starter because of that in the future? Should you do that if you're Team USA trying to just win gold? It's only every 4 years. Like, there's enough talent just from the country that you don't need to convert guys like Embiid from other places with their citizenship. But it is a nice touch for this team. And size was definitely something they're needed, and they're going to need, as we talked about, especially if they meet up with France later on in the medal rounds. They're going to need size in that matchup. So it's interesting what they'll do at that center position.
Yeah. I mean, I think we both said, I remember when the three of us gave our starting lineups, I think we both said that we would prefer Davis over Embiid. And I do think, just from what I've seen from the exhibition games, I think Davis is just looks better in this environment of basketball, I would say. I mean, he averaged 3 blocks a game, I think, during the exhibition games. I believe he led the team in rebounding too. But yeah, I think there's going to be a time and place for Joel. Sixers fans probably like it. He's getting some run, getting in shape early here in the offseason. Obviously, it could go the other way and he could get injured. We hope that doesn't happen, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting. I think Steve Kerr is going to have to do some tinkering, and it's not going to be easy because the first game you got Jokic. So like, maybe all this conversation.
So Embiid's not playing then, is what you're telling me. He's gonna sit out, knee soreness.
But it's gonna be tough because Sunday is gonna be like the main game where Joel wants to be out there.
They cooked Serbia though. I'm not too worried about that game.
That
prelim game,
kind of Joel and like no one else.
Yeah,
Jokic.
Yeah, they that game against Serbia I was watching. I think it was last Wednesday, and I'm like, all right, let's see what Jokic does. It's like, no, the rest of these guys can't keep up with Team USA. So I mean, with this group too, we saw South Sudan give them some trouble too, but it just seemed like later on it was South Sudan and Germany back-to-back games where it was like, okay, these games are closer than they should be. Kind of just felt like Team USA was like, can we just get to these games? Like, we're kind of done here. We've been out traveling. We were in Vegas and we're in Abu Dhabi. Like, we're all over the place. Like they had it was a wild training camp. Like the fact that they were all over the world doing this training camp, and they've been going for now almost a month since practices started in Vegas. I think that there was just some lackadaisical play from Team USA later on. I think that they should be able to handle this group pretty easily, all things considered.
Yeah, I think so too. I think South Sudan is just kind of, and not taking anything away from that program, because they, kind of built that program out of thin air.
Yeah,
and the competitiveness from them is, inspiring and pretty intriguing. But I do think, all things considered, when push comes to shove, obviously Team USA clears in all categories there, and I think it was just a laziness game towards the end there. And Germany, I don't know. Germany might be a different story. It did seem just like a little more like toughness and like, oh shit, this team is just ready to play here. But that game too, it was like LeBron just, when he wanted to, was like, I'm going to turn this on and let's go home, guys. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, because I do think, obviously, LeBron's all in. All his teammates kind of said that he was the best player on the team. But actually watching him in action in those last 4 minutes was crazy, because of all the, talented scorers and just incredible players on this team. Like, everyone who was touching was just deferring to LeBron. Like, Anthony Edwards would catch on the wing, and we saw Anthony Edwards for half of playoffs be super decisive and be one of the best players on the court.
Yep.
But here in Team USA, he catches on the wing, wants to drive, and then he's like, oh wait, there's 5 seconds left in the shot clock. Let me just throw this back to LeBron, and he can get the bucket here. It is just crazy how good LeBron has been in these exhibition games, and just like how much he wants it. It's almost like he wants it more than the rest of the team too. This would be an incredibly difficult conversation or question to even ask LeBron. So it will be difficult for you to answer too. But is it possible you think LeBron wants this gold medal more than he wants a championship for the Lakers this upcoming season?
He definitely has a better chance at it. So that could be it.
Yeah, he for sure has a better chance.
Like, that could be it. And I do think this is really important to him, because of his age. The fact that he's even on this team is like amazing. And obviously he used his pull. Like, there was no way he once he decided he was on this team, he was on this team. And I feel like he's probably the most powerful person not named Grant Hill in Team USA right now, like even more than Kerr. Like, I don't think Kerr has a choice but to put LeBron out there and have him run the offense. I think LeBron has decided that, and Kerr is working around that. But I think the point you said about the guys like Edwards and all these other guys, I think they're okay with that. I think that they've seen that, and they're like, yeah, we know who this guy is, and he can still do this at a high level and carry us this way. And the thing about LeBron is he's going to know who's going and who's not in all these games, and he's going to be more than willing. If Curry is, just on fire in a game, Curry's taking those shots at the end. The thing is, Bron has been the one that's been dominant. Like, he's been the one playing the best. It's not like he's just like doing, like, not playing well, and then all of a sudden the last 5 minutes, like, okay, it's LeBron James hero ball time. Let's go get this win. It's like LeBron's been the most consistent player. He's hitting the 3 ball really well from that shorter line right now.
Yeah, I think he's shooting 46%.
Yeah. He shot 41% last year. Like, that's a weapon for him now, is that 3-point shot. and that's going to help them a lot. But he's also bullying, getting into the paint. It just depends on matchup wise, I think, what they're going to do. But I think that's what it comes down to is he decided he was going to be the best player on this team, and B, has done it so far. And so, yeah, I think now he's in the mode where he's like, I want this way, way worse than a title this year. And it's way, way closer to within grasp. Like, and it's also got to be so much fun for him this year playing with we were talking about, I think maybe it was us a couple weeks ago or last week, talking about this Team USA, and it's like, okay, yeah, like his third best player on the Lakers is Austin Reeves, and on this team it's literally whatever, Kevin Durant or whoever you want to be. Like, it has to just be a blast to be out there with those guys, and I think that's the confidence that you kind of see from him right now, just knowing that he's around great players again and still the guy that he is.
Yeah, and it even just seems motivating for him on the court. Like those, like he just has like a skip in his step when he's out there. Like he was skying for rebounds against Germany, getting steals down the stretch, just not hesitating at all to jack the deep threes, even though the line's a little bit shorter than the NBA. So yeah, shout out LeBron, man. It's cool to watch. I'm excited to see what he does in these, real competition games coming up starting this weekend. And yeah, I mean, he obviously deserves it. And it's awesome to see. It is cool too that just the different teammates he had. I know you mentioned that, but like Steph throwing him a lob in one of their first games was just like super sick to see for any NBA fan. Then he kind of has like these different generations of teammates right now, right? Because he has Kevin Durant, who he's had a bunch of battles with, obviously Steph, who he's had a bunch of battles with. Like those guys have been around a long time, playing with his big man now, Anthony Davis, and then you have the younger guys like Anthony Edwards. I mean, Book's kind of in the middle there. Tatum's kind of in the middle. Tyrese Halliburton's on this team. Drew Holiday, a guy who's been around forever in the league with LeBron. So it's just cool, this mix of guys. And, like you said, I'm sure LeBron's just eating this up and loving every second of it. But that's enough about Team USA. Who do you think is the biggest threat to Team USA? So looking at the competition, looking at the field here, what country, what team, doesn't have to be our group, can be any group, what team do you think is the biggest threat?
It's got to be the French. The fact that we're in Paris, Wembanyama and Gobert are going to be the toughest defensive front that they deal with. They have talent across the NBA talent across the board. It just feels like we're heading to that matchup this year. It really feels like that's the collision course that we're on. They've had some great matchups in the last couple years too in international basketball. I'm scared that the Canadians I would put up there too. Think that's a team, but the Canadians just don't have the size. But you look at the French, besides Gobert and Wembanyama, they've got Koulibaly. We mentioned him earlier. He's going to be great defensively. Batum's going to be able to generate offense. Fournier is going to be able to generate offense. Your boy Yabusele.
Yep, Guerschon Yabusele.
Yep, and Ntilikina, both good defenders as well. Like the French might have trouble scoring in some of these games against the U.S., but it's going to be one of those ugly international 80 to 77 type of deals every time that you're going against them, and that terrifies me. So I'm just going to go with the chalk pick and go with the French. I think the Canadians would be a fun matchup, but I just don't like their size when it comes down to it. That's why I was like, I'm not surprised they didn't pick Edey up and keep him on that roster, but because it's not really like you could play with that style internationally, I don't think. But they don't have a lot of good size against the teams that they're going to have to go. Even if you're talking about Greece and teams like that, who is on Canada is going to guard Giannis when they play in that Group A? That's the worry about the Canadians. So I'll just go with the chalk pick and go with the French.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think Germany in that exhibition game, that was enough to say they're probably top 2, maybe top 3 threats.
Yeah,
I'd probably give Germany top 2. Just the Wagner brothers on that team. Schroeder, you mentioned at the beginning, he just loves playing this style of basketball. Obviously loves competing against the other NBA guys. And then, just having someone like Daniel Theis, who was oddly enough on LeBron down the stretch of those games, which is funny because you'd never see that in an NBA setting. But this is a guy who is a FIBA Defensive Player of the Year before he came over to the NBA. So, you know, they have a little mix of everything. They have defense. They have guys who can put the ball in the hoop. They have size. So I do think Germany and France are probably the two biggest threats to Team USA. And then, I mean, yeah, Wemby in these games is just going to be insane, man. I'm excited about
Can't wait to see them.
a USA France matchup. And yeah, like you mentioned, they're basically playing at home, right? Because we're in Paris. So who knows? I'm with you. I think they're the biggest threat. They also, you know, just along with the size and star power, they just have like the names too, right? Like you went through. They have Batum, they have Fournier, they have Yabusele, who is maybe if you're a Celtics fan, you remember him a little better than everyone else. But no, it's cool, man. I love this. It's a good just like switch up from the basketball we're used to. Rules are a little different. Games are a little shorter. Obviously, just like a super shortened season where stakes are at an all-time high. Like you're playing for world champions and you're going for that gold medal. It's awesome. And with that, would you tweak anything to the starting lineups that we said we wanted to see get put out before the exhibition games? I know we saw some tinkering for Kerr, or if you were Steve Kerr, would you still put up that same five that you said a couple weeks ago?
Yes. Davis needs to start over Embiid. You put LeBron out. Hopefully KD. If KD isn't healthy, I would put Tatum in there. But Tatum, I feel like they've been really careful with him coming off a lot of minutes, 110 games or whatever he ended up playing, you know, coming off the run. Curry and Edwards is going to get that run. Edwards is going to be in that starting lineup no matter what it seems like. So I think you go Bron, Edwards. So I guess I am changing it because I didn't have Ant in there. I would go Bron, Edwards, Curry, Tatum, Davis.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I might, or and that's if Durant is playing, you just think he comes off the bench?
I think Durant starts coming off the bench. I think that they started that way, and then you go from there.
I like that. I might. It's crazy that I would do this to my guy, but it's to put a different Celtic in. But I wouldn't hate Drew Holiday, Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, LeBron James, Anthony Davis lineup.
No, I don't mind that either. Holiday's gonna have a big role because there's gonna be a lot of guards that give them trouble.
Right.
Otherwise.
I think and that's the thing. It's like it's funny with this when you have this talented of a group and you're going up against such different competition. Like Steve Kerr probably will change the lineups on us, you know, throughout these games too, because for certain like France is a completely different ball game than playing Canada, right? Because they have all the size. Canada has absolutely no size. So like maybe you start Embiid in that game, and maybe in Canada is where we see a lot of Holiday, and maybe Derek White comes off the bench quickly, and Book gets a lot of runs.
The Canadian bigs, we've talked about this a couple of times. The Canadian bigs are Steve's favorite basketball player, Dwight Powell, Kelly Olynyk, and Trey Lyles. Like that's not the most intimidating front court.
Not intimidating whatsoever. Obviously, you know, pretty decent players. They've all, you know, made a living in the NBA.
League. Yeah.
But, you know, no one back home in the States is afraid of them in the NBA either.
Not quite. No.
Kelly gives them that shooting factor, but it kind of plays into like how they want to play. Like they want to play on the perimeter more, it seems like.
Yep.
And he allows them to do that more too. So yeah, I think I would go Drew, Curry, and Bron, Davis. I want to see Davis in at that big man spot. I think he's more deserving. I think he's a better fit for this style. And I think he's just been much better defensively in the runs that I've seen.
I agree. I think it's time. I understand why they wanted to try to make it work with Joel, but bring him off the bench and let him be a different kind of a bruiser from there. I don't think it hurts them at all. But we'll see. We'll see what they do.
And I'm not I'm not ready to say that Tatum won't be a good Team USA player. Obviously, he's kind of struggled to like find his role with this group. for a guy who's, been like the main guy on a team since he's been in the league, now has to take a backseat, probably even a bench role for most of these games. But I think that's fine with Tatum, and I think it will end up working out. I think if you're outside like the top 3 or 4 guys in the exhibition games, you don't really have a lot of opportunity to get your own shots. And it wasn't like he was forcing or taking a bunch. He just really wasn't shooting. But a guy like that who can come in and rebound and then play make off the bench, I think it's almost beneficial to have Tatum be a bench guy. We'll see. It's going to be difficult with KD too, because we both assume he comes off the bench, but it's a different ball game. If KD starts, then you have that luxury of bringing Tatum off the bench. Maybe Tatum starts some matchups.
Yeah, I just don't think Curtis has shown his hand yet. I really think that's as much as it for anything. So what do we got? So before we wrap up here, what are your medals then? We got to finish. We got to make our official predictions.
Ooh. Well, I think I'm going Team USA gold. I'm not going against the states here. I'm not going against our country. Should I do bronze next? I'll go Canada bronze. And then I got to make sure this is possible, what I'm saying here. And then, France silver.
Yeah.
Is that too chalky?
That's what I'm picking. That's what I'm going with too. I think that's where I'm at with it too. It depends. That could be the matchups. We could get, depending on how the medal rounds play out.
I'm going Australia bronze.
Okay. All right. Nice Australia, Canada bronze medal game. That sounds good to me. Yeah, I'll stick with the Canadians. I think the Canadians get it done. I think that your semifinal will be like Canada and France and the US and I think Australia. I think US and Australia, and then that's how we get to our games. I'm excited, man. Sunday.
Too.
Well, it's technically tomorrow morning. The game starts Sunday morning. Team USA, 11:15 Eastern time. And this is so nice. I mean, obviously, it's great. The Olympics obviously go all over the world and everything, but the last two have not been good for American TV watchers. We had Tokyo, we had Seoul, South Korea. So I was not watching much Olympic sport at all. Not staying up late, watching some replays the next day, everything. But Paris is like perfect because you can just throw it on 7 a.m. when you wake up having cereal, and there's going to be something on, whether it's basketball, some volleyball, some gymnastics going on, some triathlon, whatever it is. Yeah. Something's going to be going on from the second you wake up for most of the day. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, man, it's an exciting time right now, and even when the basketball team hasn't been playing, just like the social clips have been just like warming if you're a basketball fan, because this is usually when there's nothing going on.
Nothing, yeah.
Like, we've had like a few extensions, like we mentioned at the top, and some rumors, some signings, obviously there's going to be some chit chat throughout the offseason, but this is awesome to see like the best of the best. We got to see what they're up to during the summer, playing together, guys who have never played together being able to come together. The Celtics, obviously the rare case of them having 3 guys who just won the championship. Now they're playing for the gold medal. It's all cool stuff. Basketball fans should be excited. Americans should be excited. This is obviously a lot of crazy shit going on in the world. We have a election coming up. Don't worry, I'm not getting political, but just there's, it's nice to be able to come together with this type of stuff. And
sure.
I'm looking forward to the Olympics. Team USA basketball is going to be awesome. Yeah.
I can't wait, man. It's going to be a fun couple weeks. It's going to be really fun.
Hell yeah. So thank you guys for, doing our little Team USA basketball check-in. We will have an episode probably not next week, but the following. And we'll be back with all the latest news, and follow us on our socials at Happy Hour Hoops 1 on all socials. We'll be keeping up with Team USA for sure on Twitter, probably some videos here and there until we record next. And don't forget to follow Trainwreck Sports on all socials. Shout out to Trainwreck Sports. Follow the 2 of us. and go download the WinStreaks app, guys. Happy Hour Hoops is brought to you by WinStreaks, 100% free to play. Jake's got the green shirt on, that nice, good green from WinStreaks, and you can win the green if you make those correct picks, guys. 5 picks a day. It's super, super easy. 5 picks a day, accumulate points, then win cash prizes. Use our code HHH when you sign up and start winning cash prizes when you pick your favorite teams to win.
Hell yeah, man.
That's it from us, guys, and go Team USA.